Warning! This podcast is lewder than a cat burglar at a yarn convention. Listener discretion is advised. Your episode begins in 3, 2, 1. Do you see this face? Am I painting you with my drink?
How much booze did you put in there?
I mean, I thought I didn't put as much as the recipe said because I thought the recipe said a lot. I did eyeball it. I can't lie.
Maybe it's the combination with the sugar. I don't know, but
Woo! I put in less sugar than the recipe stated. I put in a quarter cup less. A lot less.
But did it maybe not get mixed and it was all at the bottom and you just basically just had a shot of booze all at once?
maybe it's the rum. I'm not a rum drinker.
I think I also just didn't put enough eggnog in there to mask the rum.
It's delicious.
Is it delicious?
Oh, it's so delicious.
Tasty, but whew.
Okay, well, Joey, what do you think?
Oh, my God.
Is it good?
Is there more?
Do you like it?
Oh, I think it's delicious.
Honest
Hello,
opinion?
look at my glass.
Oh, wow, I am honored.
Delish.
Okay, good. All right.
Does it have a lot of sugar? Does it have a lot of booze?
I mean,
Joey's.
Shack and shack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was a little concerned about the mouthfeel of eggnog bothering me.
Mm.
It still does a little bit.
Is it the creamy texture on your tongue?
But
Because if semen tasted like this, I don't think anybody would have an issue swallowing.
you're just going there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the drink. It's almost gone.
It's wow, you really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
She loves me. She really loves me, everybody.
Oh my God.
I'm so honored. Wow. No, I'm
It's the first
It's gone.
truly honored.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so proud of myself.
In 14. That's the first
Wow.
gulp down she's done.
We're at
Yep.
second 47 or however
I
many
know.
seconds
What am I
we are
going to
in.
do for the next 60 minutes?
Yeah, what the fuck? Well, listen, folks, if you saw the title of the book already, you know what you're here for. You thought maybe you'd sit and listen for a little bit, see how it goes, but, you probably won't listen to the whole thing, let alone actually read a holiday romance novel, because no, you're too sophisticated for that. You've got thoughts on politics and feminism, and reading this would be just too kitschy for you. You're very hip. Well, pals.
You're describing yourself.
Well, welcome to the Lusty Library podcast where smart women read smut and we're not sorry about it.
Yeah.
And in the next hour, I, your host Birdie, while drinking spiked eggnog, will proceed to explain to you why you need to go out and pick up a copy of How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Meghan Quinn and read it immediately.
Hands down.
So if this is your first time listening to the Lusty Library podcast, just to get you up to speed, we read spicy novels, we make cocktails, we talk about the books that we've read. Who is we, you might ask? Well, we've got our holly jolly Joey.
Who's a ho, 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 ho.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap. And we've got la 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 Lex.
That's adorable. And I just see myself as the little, magical elf sidekick.
Oh, gosh, I really do enjoy that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So enough of the dumb holiday theme. Let's dive in because never have I thought I'd have so much to talk about. I thought it was going to be very surface. I thought it was going to be
I felt
kitschy.
you were a little resistant when I was like, hey, we should do a holiday novel.
Yeah, I was fucking resistant. I've never watched a Hallmark movie in my life. I do not like kitsch. I thought there's no way in fucking hell I'm going to read this book and actually like it.
And Joey was like, oh, I've got the perfect.
Haven't you learned after 15 episodes that you just need to do everything I tell you to do and you will end up happy on the backside of it? Here's the funny part. I freebase Hallmark movies like it was crack cocaine.
I know.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
They have the same beginning, the same ending, especially during the holidays. I watch movies that I've watched previous years. I watch whatever new ones they come out. but I don't read holiday books. I'm just not drawn to them because of the kitsch. And of course, going through Instagram, this book came up and I'm like, I love Meghan Quinn. I've read tons of her stuff. And it just sounded funny.
You know, I thought this is the real testament to how much I love Joey.
I know. I know.
Mm-hmm.
It's blind trust. It's blind trust. I did not read the synopsis. Again, she recommended it to me. And I thought, you know what? I would like to feel the holiday feels. Let's read the synopsis and get in deep. Living in a year-round Christmas town has its drawbacks. The caroling, the decorations, the insanely cheery spirit, it never disappears. It's why I like to hibernate away in my cave. I mean, housekeeping a healthy distance from the holly jolly spirits. And all was going according to plan until my nemesis, storyteller, moved in next door to care for her Aunt Cindy. Without blinking, she turned my simple world into a real nightmare before Christmas, especially when she decided to enter the town Christmas Kringle contest, which she was determined to win. Well, guess what? Over my cold-hearted body. There was no way I was going to let her win, not after the history we'd shared. So despite my promise to myself of never participating in the sickening Christmas season, I entered the competition as well. That's right, I planned on beating Story at her own game by pretending this grump's heart grew 3 sizes this season. And it was working, until feelings between us started heating up. We pretended to date, we kissed, and, well, sparks flew from there, which led to one explosive night involving Christmas lights, the competition, and a ladder. Don't let me convince you who stole Christmas. I think you need to find out for yourself. So that synopsis gave nothing away about the actual structure of the entire story.
No, but it's relevant to everything that happened.
It's relevant. So I think we just need to do a quick recap, just in case anybody is thinking that they're not going to read this book, which is a stupid idea and a really not a great way to live right now.
No judgment.
Oh, completely will judge that.
Totally fucking judging everybody. Everybody that thinks they're not going to read this book, go fucking read this book. So, all right. You know how we always talk about the names.
Oh, my God.
So the only reason I will accept these names is because she was doing basically a parody of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was great. It was so well done. So MMC, Coal Black.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
It's so good. You know that somebody in this world is named Coal Black.
Oh, 100%.
It's a great name, though.
It's a great.
It's great name.
Oh, he's sexy just with that.
Yes.
Alone. Meow. Coal Black. And then there's Storyteller. Storee.
Old English spelling.
Is it a real name?
So Taryn was. I did look that up because I was like, what is she going for?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
And Taryn is an Old Welsh name. And then Story, the way it's spelled, is an Old English spelling of a tale story. So
It's cute. It's cute. And then there's Aunt Cindy.
So I didn't make the correlation, Lex, until
I
you
text.
blasted it in
Are
our
you
text script.
Fucking shitting me.
Yeah. When Lex had sent over, she's like, oh, Aunt Cindy Lewis. Cindy Lou, who I went, oh.
Really?
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
didn't.
like at least 40% into the book till they give her last name.
I
She's
think
just
that's what I
Aunt
missed.
Cindy.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
Aunt
I
Cindy.
knew it from the immediate moment she said her name was Aunt Cindy. I was like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with this.
I had
And then,
hence why I was like, I'm so thick that it took me this long. Like, I usually pick up on this shit. And
You weren't the only one. I read the whole book twice before it came to.
oh my God.
Yeah, I read it 2 times.
But that's actually, I think, a testament to how Meghan didn't rip off The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. She parodied it.
Yeah.
And she did it so well.
it's a great parody. I love the way she breaks the fourth wall all the time.
That was fun. I
With Cole.
usually hate breaking the fourth wall, but she did it really well.
Yeah,
Cute.
it
Very
was
cute.
fun.
Like,
Yes.
if Joey wrote a romance book, I feel like she and Meghan have a very similar voice.
Oh, I'm dropping the two of you if Meghan will be my friend. I think she would be more entertaining.
Fair. Yeah, absolutely. I think those were the main names that really drew me in terms of
Max
Atlas.
Well, yeah, but is that related to the Grinch book?
Max is the dog.
The dog.
Oh, Max.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Cole's the only one who calls him Max because his last name is Maximheimer. And so instead of calling him Atlas, he always calls him Max because he's his best friend in the whole world.
Oh, shut up. It just got so much cuter now.
Yeah.
I want a next book about Atlas because he was smoking.
I'm not going to lie. I really didn't want Cole to end up with Story. I wanted him to realize that his true love was Atlas. And I needed this to end up as an MM book.
Fuck, that's a great idea. So Cole lives in Kringletown, Colorado, which is Christmas all year round, in case you couldn't tell by the name. And it's their main tourist attraction. He's lived there his whole life, and he has grown up every year seeing this sweet little girl that comes to visit Aunt Cindy next door to him. Story, lives happen. She goes off to college. She doesn't come back for like 10 years. And then this one year, she shows up, and he's like, meow, meow, meow. I don't want to see her. Why doesn't he want to see her? Because he's all been out of shape and I don't know if I'm going to do a good job describing this, and I actually want both of your thoughts on this.
So what happened was they had this thing where they'd sit on the porch together, sharing cocoa, talking about their lives. And she had just had this horrible embarrassment in the town. I'm not going to go into it. Read the book. It's kind of funny. And she's just humiliated. And if you know small town life, it's just going to be talked about for years. So she is just humiliated, and she's sitting there, and he's being quiet, and she doesn't even realize. And what's going through his head at the time is there was just a snowstorm, his parents are missing, and nobody knows where they are. She's like, I hate this town, I hate everything about it, and he doesn't say anything because he's numb. So next day, he finds out his parents were killed in the car accident during the snowstorm. So he goes next door to talk to Story because he feels that she's the only one who will understand him. She's one of the few people he's opened up to, and she has gone.
Yeah.
And so he takes it that she hates the town, she hates everything about it, and therefore she hates him too.
Okay.
And then doesn't go back for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, I didn't actually put all of that together in such a nice way. So this is the whole crux of the meat and potatoes of the story and why he is grumpy when she returns, even though he sees her and he's immediately like, she's hot. She's hot.
Oh, yeah. The one component we didn't say is they both had a crush on each other and never told each other.
Yeah.
Right.
But Story's not back voluntarily.
No, she's back because Aunt Cindy has fallen and broken her hip. She and her sister Taryn go to Kringletown to take care of dear old Aunt Cindy.
Who's more like a grandmother.
Yes, she's very grandmotherly to them. They spent all their Christmases with her as a child. And the vision of this town that got painted in my head is so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they roll up to her little cul-de-sac, and she lives in a pink Victorian home. Love it so much. Yeah. I have lots of thoughts about how I want to live in this town. So she and her sister don't really get along. So it's kind of like tit for tat kind of things. And so anyhow, they take care of Aunt Cindy, and she says, well, you know what? This year I can't be in the Kringle competition because I broke my hip. So I guess, Story, you're going to have to be in the competition and really stand up for me out there. And she was like, what? But nonetheless, she gets into this competition, which is such a good construct for a story. The competition is various forms of different holiday things that they compete in, like gift wrapping and putting lights on their house and making candy canes, fruitcake. Oh, caroling. Oof.
So let me read you the list of events that occur for you to be.
Of course you have the list.
The Kringle of Kringletown. Of course I do. So it begins with the Eggnog Wars.
Oh, right.
Then there is Upcycle Christmas, the Fruitcake Festivus, the Light Display, the Candy Cane Making, the Christmas Caroling. Last but not least, the super event of card making, wrapping, and stocking making.
I would win this competition. Okay? Are you both not agreeing with me immediately?
Oh, you would 1,000%
Okay, thank
because you would care more
Thank
about it than the two of us.
No, I'm not competing with you.
No. I'd be like Max. I'm like, all right, I'm in there for you. You need me to
Yes.
wear the booty shorts? Fine. I'm
Yes.
there. I will hop like a dog for you because I love you that much.
Oh, thank you. So Max and Cole enter the competition together. So Cole's the main contributor, but Max is the Holly Jolly sidekick. So good.
We have
Cute.
to talk about the best scene, though. The best scene was the Christmas upcycle. Later hoses,
Booty
good.
shorts.
the dancing, and the hip thrust. I'm not going to go into detail, but everybody just needs to read the book for the hip thrusting because I laughed so hard out loud by myself. This was such a fun ride.
It was. It really was.
Let's talk about how Cole has led his life in the 10 years
Yes.
since
Oh,
his parents
sweet
passed.
baby boy.
Are we all on board with Cole, by the way?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not often we all agree, but
Oh, mama. Do we agree?
Yum, yum, yum.
So Cole has been on autopilot for 10 years. He
Yes.
doesn't participate in anything that happens in the town. He goes to work. And really, the town has supported him through the loss of his parents. But he basically just goes every day without really a lot of joy.
Yeah, and he doesn't do the Christmas thing, but he's still there for the town.
Yes.
Like he still goes next door to his elderly neighbors and does stuff around the house. He's a good guy. He's
And-
still
Yeah.
in with the community. He's just like, fuck Christmas.
He doesn't want to remember it because it was the time of year that
Yes.
his parents died.
Yeah. The description of his house. So he inherits his parents'
Oh.
house and he puts sheets down on all the furniture
Yeah,
and stuff and
yeah.
still lives in the finished attic.
Yeah, that it was his bedroom when he
Yes.
was a kid.
Yeah. He doesn't open any of the cabinets. It's preserved.
He spends Christmas with Max's family.
Yeah. When I found out about how his parents died, I literally was standing there in my kitchen and I went, oh no, like out loud,
Yeah.
alone in my
Yeah,
kitchen. Like, what a dork. I knew what had happened, but I wasn't expecting it. And
Mm-hmm.
So after all this and Story comes back into town, Cole's like, what? She's going into the Kringle competition? There's no way I'm letting a girl who doesn't care about this town,
Who ran away to college and then now lives in LA.
never came back. I'm not letting her win.
Oh, I'm sorry. What does she do for a living?
oh, she edits
Love
Mark
Mark
movies.
movies.
Clever. Very clever. Super cute. So there are so many constructs that are really wonderful happening at the same time. The puzzle pieces and the armature that this whole story was built on. The competition, the town
Mhm.
being the theme that it is, the backbone of his character with his parents. Like, there's so much more depth to this book than
And-
it would seem.
Wrapped in so much humor.
So much humor and so much amazing writing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of you have tried writing a poem to the tune of the way that Dr. Seuss writes.
No.
It's really fucking hard. Ask me how I know. Don't worry, I'll tell you later. But it's really hard. And Meghan fucking nailed it. And I just had this vision of her sitting in her little writing studio and going, just chuckling to
Yeah.
herself the
Mhm.
whole time. Like,
Yeah.
you could tell that this book was written by someone who was supremely happy
Yes.
and just thrilled to be writing this. Like, there's no way she didn't have so much fun writing this book.
yeah, yeah.
Like, it's absurd. It's so cute.
And suddenly we get an email from Megan being like, do you know how hard this was?
I mean, yes, it must have been really hard to write all those poems. So every chapter opens with a new sequence of a Grinch Who Stole Christmas style poem setting the scene for each chapter. And it's so good.
What I found amazing in this book in particular is the different voices that were there. So the narrator was there. Then you had Cole's voice, Story, Taryn, Cindy, Max, and then all these other components of people in town. But the banter and the conversations that were held in this book by all these characters that were there was distinct and unique and pretty amazing. So,
you guys did the audiobook, right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is it one narrator for the whole audiobook, or did they do different voices?
5. This was like an ensemble cast of 5 different voice actors.
Oh, okay. So it's more like a play.
Oh, yeah. This was the most advanced production of an audiobook I've ever heard in my whole life.
Oh, okay.
It was phenomenal.
I might have to go back and listen to it then,
Absolutely. It's a non-negotiable. It was so good.
because I physically read it, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me tell you, I love when it is edited that the female voice comes in
Yeah.
during the female parts and the male voice comes in. You're actually listening to a full production.
Okay.
It
cool.
must have cost a freaking
Yeah,
fortune.
it's pretty amazing to hear it. It
Yeah.
would bring me back to maybe what old time radio was.
I was
when
going to say
you're
radio
listening.
dramas. Yeah.
Absolutely. I really can't impress upon you enough. It was
Yeah.
so good.
So what blows my mind is you were the first person to be like,
Uh-huh.
I can't give a high rating to these kind of books. I read this, that, and the other thing.
I know.
I'm loving your face right now.
Are you seeing the sparkle
Yes.
in Joey's eyes right now?
Oh,
The-
she's
the
so
twinkle
satisfied
and the
with
Because this
herself.
book was fucking awesome.
It was so good. It was just
awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
happy that we got on board to do this. And I think this was the perfect pick
Mhm.
for it.
Yeah. I mean, Meghan Quinn has ruined me for all others. Nothing will ever live up to how good this book was. From the quality of the audio recording
Gauntlet
to the
has
writing.
been thrown to other writers.
Whoa. So good. Yeah.
And I will tell you, I have read a lot of Meghan Quinn, and she is phenomenal. This is her voice.
Yeah.
This is definitely her writing style. She does an amazing job of just really doing a great story. And this was very tongue-in-cheek. And I think that's what I found great about it is it was trying to be kitschy. It was trying to be a parody of itself, but it actually made it even funnier.
Yes. Absolutely. It was just done so perfectly.
Just like even the banter with all those Christmas jokes thrown in about being in the Santa's underwear and all that. It was so kitschy, but it was so fucking well done.
It was so good. It was a little bit aggressive, but I really enjoyed the part where she was like, "Yeah, Snow Daddy, I think that's a great nickname for you." And he's like, "Don't call me that. Don't
Only
do
Max
it.
can call me
Only
that.
Max can call me Snow Daddy." And
I'm
she was
telling
like,
you, it's there.
"Yeah, I mean, Snow Daddy, like, if Christmas wanted a spanking, you'd give it to them."
So I highlighted this because I thought it was funny as fuck. So I'll
Yeah.
read it to you.
Okay, great.
Someone doesn't want to be referred to as Snow Daddy. I don't see why not, she says, as she leans against the truck with no clear intention of getting in. Snow Daddy makes it seem like you own Christmas. Like if Christmas wanted a spanking, you'd be the one to give it to him. My brow raises. If Christmas wanted a spanking, she chuckles. Oh yeah, Christmas can be a real kinky bitch. I'm going to need you to explain. At first, there's the whole mistletoe thing. Forcing people a kiss on cue? Kinky. Then there's the whole sitting on Santa's lap thing. Old man kink. Not to mention the wreaths and candles. What about the wreaths and candles, I ask. Oh my God, Cole, it's like vaginas and penis hung all around. What the hell are you talking about? I ask on a laugh. The wreath is the vagina and the candle is the penis. Put them together and well, sex. I tug on my hair. Charming as it is, I don't think Christmas is kinky. Clearly, you're not looking at it the right way. You're stuck in your head in your perfect little Christmas town. Are you telling me there's more to Christmas outside of Kringle? But I thought we had a chokehold on Christmas. Aha, she says, pointing at me. See? Choking. Kinky. Christmas is kinky.
Yep. Every single time Meghan started to go in a direction where I was like, oh, she's going to get really kitschy with this. I'm not going to like this. Then she just did it so well.
Yep.
She crushed it. Okay, let me just get it out there. The one line in the whole book that I didn't like.
Okay.
Okay. I just have to, like,
There
gushing
are
for half an hour.
453 pages of this book.
There's one line.
And there is one line with 7 words that you didn't like, and you had to fucking highlight it?
Yes,
It's
because you know who
Birdie.
I am. Have you met me? It's like her pussy is made for me. I'm so tired of hearing that.
What?
You're tired of hearing that being repeated in different books.
Do not want to hear that ever again.
Okay.
I don't want to hear that their dick is molded inside the vagina and that the pussy is made for me. I'm tired of that. But here's the thing. In 453 pages with a parody about a fucking holiday, that's all she got in terms of negative marks from me.
Okay, so for the rest of the 98% of listeners, don't fucking listen to Birdie. Who
Listen,
the hell cares?
but for those of you who align with me, that's all I got for you. Okay?
I'm just going to sit over here chuckling.
The other really great banter line that just got me so good, I listened to it 4 times, the whole scene over and over. So we start to get into the competition, and Cole starts to think, well, what if we did this whole fake dating thing, and I'm going to go after her, and she's not going to want to date me, but then she'll have to date me because they want their sweet little town boy to have his wonderful
Right.
romance. So
Right. Yes.
she can't turn him down because otherwise it'll make him be the winner of the competition.
Yep, and she'll look bad, so she says, fine.
So basically, they get into this whole fake dating scenario. And at one point, they go for a walk around the town, and it's super cute. It's super fucking cute. I listened to it again on the drive here, I gotta tell you, because it's so good. And the kiss at the end of it. So they kiss under the mistletoe because they can't not, because they got spotted under mistletoe by Martha and May.
The twins.
The twins.
Wearing their blue velour tracksuits.
So good. So they get spotted, and then of course they have to kiss, and they're both like, oh God, I guess we're gonna do this. And then they did it.
What does the town talk about the next day? Not just the kiss, but how they looked into each other's soul.
Yeah. And so afterwards, Max goes to him and he's just like, I heard your eyes opened slowly after. And he goes, my eyes opened at a reasonable rate. That stupid line, it just did everything for me. And it was just so perfect. Like, their banter was so good together. But
I love them together
Oh.
so much. They're competing together, and there are times that, like, Max has ideas, and Cole's like, no, not going to do that. And then Max is almost always right. And he always goes, yes, dear.
Yes,
and they
dear.
have that thing.
Yeah.
They do it back and forth whenever the other one is right. Just, yes,
Yes, dear.
So the other really nice thing that Meghan did was she started increasing their level of kinky sex talk. And it was all in this like joking banter, and they just started upping the ante and upping the ante and upping the ante. And it was just kind of manifesting and like incepting in both of their heads, and also getting in the back of your head and like building the tension. This was a slow burn. I texted our chat group and I was like, Joey, have you given us a book with no fucking smut in it? Because I'm literally going to die if we don't get anything right now. And she was like, hold on tight. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm on chapter
In all caps.
18.
In all caps, I was like, hold on tight.
And then literally like 20 minutes later, you're like, oh.
I was like, good thing you told me to hold on, because otherwise I would have gotten blown the fuck away.
I quoted you the chapter where the stone that was on the top of the hill started rolling down and gathering moss.
Mm-hmm. Full avalanche. It wasn't just one stone. Yeah, this book went from being cutesy-tootsy to, when you pull these excerpts out, one of the absolute most explicit novels we've ever read. Like, it blew me away. When I took it out of context, it's like, holy shit, it's a full fucking porno in here.
So, listener discretion, you have to hold tight till chapter 23.
Yep.
Well, chapter 22 starts a little dry. Hump, hump. Chapter 23 heats the fuck up. Then you get to chapter 20-5,
Mhm.
which I listened to 3 times because it was so good.
But
And then it continued after that. It was like you had to wait. You had to wait. But when the Band-Aid came off, everything was flying.
I mean, that was kind of like Butcher and Blackbird, too.
yeah. And both of these books, you're having so much fun.
Yeah.
You almost
Chapter
don't care.
27. Sorry.
Yeah. It goes on and on.
You know, it's funny because I was like rating this very low for smut. Because even though we have smut, I was like,
Wait, at what point were you like, not good enough, not good enough?
Not good enough up until he takes her to the barn and he pulls out the
bridles.
The bridals. Yeah. And then I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm on board now.
I don't know,
What does that say
man.
about me? I don't know.
But see, she built it up perfectly. So she gets you in with a really steamy kiss, and then you are thinking about it the whole time for like 4 chapters until she finally gets you and you're in that moment. But it was so real where they were like so burning hot for each other. They couldn't even get their clothes off fast enough. So she dry humps him until she comes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That scene was so hot. It was so hot because you just think about it and like, that was fun because for somebody that's been in a relationship for a very long time, it is difficult to recreate that kind of like insane peak chemistry where you're like so over the top turned on. So that is a fun fantasy.
But I think a lot of this was Megan's writing too. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, I found this funny and very hot. And you two are going to laugh at me when I read this to you. But
No shame.
so this is Story saying this. She's like, gird your loins, ladies, because the way Cole says fucked is the most gratifying sound ever. It sends thrills through you like warm cider on a cold day, like a freshly iced cookie melting in your mouth, like seeing that bitch Samantha fall flat on her face because you shut the door too hard. I find it so appealing, so attractive, so freaking alluring that I lean in closer, seeking out his warmth, wanting desperately for him to tilt my chin up and press his lips to mine.
That is 1,000% a real thing for me because I love a guy who doesn't swear a lot. And then if he does, and especially the word fuck, and if it's both like sexy and dirty all at once.
But the way Megan described it, I was like,
it's perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
Nail on the head.
Yes. I wrote down half that section also. Yeah. And the narrator for Cole was perfect. His voice was so good.
I'll go back and listen to it.
Oh my, we're going to listen to it while we're eating lunch.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't get enough of it. It's so good. So we're in the reindeer barn, all right? And here's my only, you're going to laugh at me so hard.
So let's give a little context to this, how they got to the reindeer barn.
All right.
So fake dating turned into real chemistry.
Yep.
They had a very pivotal moment.
She's a California girl. She was driving in the snow. She drifted off the side of the road. She couldn't get out. She was stuck. Her cell phone didn't have reception. And she started crying. And then lo and behold, this magical person pulls up behind her. And who is it? It's Cole, which pulls in the element of his parents dying in a car accident in a snowstorm. So he's like dead ass serious. And he's like, really, like, I'm not fucking around anymore. Like, all the walls are down.
Yeah.
She's in tears. He's terrified. And it's everything.
Oh, and he has that wonderful line. So, yep, he picks her up in the snowstorm and they're going to drive to the candy cane making class an hour away. And she's like, should we not drive in the snow? He's like, I grew up around here. I can drive in snow. And she's like, I'm scared. And he's like, I'm scared all the time. This is my favorite Cole piece. Yes, he was sexy. Yes, he was funny, but this is where it gets real. He's like, if you allow fear to take over your actions, then you're never going to accomplish anything. And that's why he gets up every time and drives in the snow and does the things he does, because it's the only way he can keep in motion.
What a guy. So all the walls come down. They have their heart-to-heart talk. Things change.
Yeah.
They actually say, well, what the fuck are we going to do now? Like, things have changed in this car ride. And it is a major turning point. So at that point on, the sexy banter starts to get actually kind of real. And they both know it. And they're both like not going to talk about it. And they're going to pretend that they still hate each other. And it's so fun. But then they end up banging and banging and banging. And all these things happen. You got to go read the book. But then we end up, is there anything else we want to talk about in between then and now and the reindeer barn? Because I would really like to get to the reindeer barn.
That sounds so bad out of context.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, actually.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the barn.
Bring us to the barn, baby. Bring us to the reindeer barn.
Okay, so they're having fun with their locales in this escapade that they're on.
So for
Right.
the town, they're dating. For Cindy and Taryn, they're fake dating. And then for themselves, they're more serious than anybody knows.
Yes.
Right.
And story even says it's like, it's getting complicated.
In fact, when they even talked about it, I was like, that's confusing. But anyway, so we're in the barn, okay? And they're getting all hot and heavy. Of course, because I'm me, I'm like, oh my God, is anybody going to break into the barn? Is there a lock on the door? Oh my God. And I'm like freaking out when they're like, oh, and then her shirt comes off. And I'm like, is it cold in there? And then she's like, no, it's warm in here. And I'm like, okay. I was like panicking in my head about being in this barn. And then she soothed all of my fears. It was warm in the barn. He power washes the floor all the time. It's so clean.
The pole she was tied to was smooth.
It was
She
smooth.
wasn't getting splinters.
Winters, yep.
Yeah.
I also feel this is a good time to be like, listener discretion is advised. Don't put anything sweet near your hoo-ha.
Stop. If you fucking heathens ruin the candy cane cum catcher scene for me, I will murder you in your sleep. Don't you dare. I don't want to hear it. I don't care about real life. Listeners, Google it before you do it.
Yes.
But do not fucking ruin it for me right now.
I was just going to say, caution, Jesus.
I knew you were going to do it. I
Yeah.
knew one of you was going to chime in on this.
Oh, not I.
Good, thank you.
No.
Let
No.
me dream.
No, there's plenty of antibodies and like nothing survives in a vagina. Like it's got its own spermicide.
La 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 la. I didn't know you could do so many things with a candy cane.
Listen,
Just keep it on the outside.
Fucking ruined.
Listen.
Ruined.
Yes, dear.
yes, dear. Good one. So you know what I loved about the candy cane that he just happens to whip out in the middle of this scene is that
The pineapple.
It's the pineapple.
it's the
They
pineapple.
stole it from Jimmy.
He stole
Stole
it
it from Jimmy.
Bad boy kink. So he got me there. It's a stolen candy
Candy cane.
cane.
Oh my God, you were really hunted for that.
No, I didn't. It actually went through my head. I was just like, oh, and he stole it. Fun. So again, with Meghan just leading me to a place where I think it's not going to work. And then it just worked.
Yeah.
He's holding the candy cane in his teeth at one point, and it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like putting it in her mouth and making her suck on it and like deep throat the candy cane and all shit. Wow.
My favorite was at the end of the scene, he pulls out the candy cane again. And I won't go into detail because I'm blushing right now. But Story says to herself, oh, he held on to the candy cane that whole time?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how did he hold on to that?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that was cute. I mean, it was just written perfectly. So there's a candy cane involved. There's lots of conversation about how thick the candy cane is.
Mhm.
It's not poorly done. It's really wonderful. She's tied up to a pole with her wrist behind her with some reindeer leather. It's fabulous.
It's fabulous.
And then they talk about like she's standing up with her arms tied behind her and he whips his dick out and she's like, well, how am I going to do this? And then she's like, well, I have to slide down and kind of squat with my back
Mhm.
against it. And I was like, girl, that is an angle that a lot of dudes and myself are on board with. I was
Yep.
like, wow, that's hot. That's a hot angle right there. And then there's just all kinds of things. Oh my God. It was
It was
just
a
so
great scene.
so great.
Mhm.
I didn't see that coming. And when it came, I was like, whoa.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I had that scene spoiled for me a little bit by social media, unfortunately. But it was, I know. I was so annoyed that I knew a candy cane was coming. I was annoyed. But that's all I knew. So, but it was still really good. Shockingly enough, that isn't the scene that I chose for our sexy stud to read.
Oh, really?
The only reason I didn't choose that is because that scene is in Story's voice. And for some reason, the voice in this book is so strongly feminine that I wanted it to be a scene from Cole's perspective. So.
She moves her pelvis back and forth, up and down, in circles, seeking out every angle she can. All the while, her breathing grows heavier and heavier. Her need goes wild. Her pussy tightens with every thrust. Fuck, I'm close. I breathe out as I grip her hips and help her move. Jesus, so close. Take my cock, Story. Fucking take it. She lifts off me, and it's my turn to protest. But then she turns around and sits back down on me. The angle must be hitting her in a different spot, with her back to my chest, because her thrusting has become feral. I help her, shooting my cock up into her, meeting her stride. My hands find her breasts, and I play with them while she rubs her clit. Fuck yes, she says as her pussy clenches around me. Oh my God, Cole, I'm coming. She tightens, she contracts. She arches and grips the back of my neck as she shatters on top of me, pulling and tugging on my dick in such a delicious way that my balls tighten, my cock swells, and I'm coming inside her with such force that I bite down on her shoulder. Fuck! I yell when I release her and let my head fall back to the couch as she leans into me. Jesus Christ, I mutter, coming down from the best high in the world.
I mean, not like there was, anything lacking in the other scenes.
I do love the biting.
Yeah. It's got a bite.
Was hot
It's
for a Christmas book.
reverse cowgirl on a sofa.
Yeah.
Also, the narration was so good for these scenes. It was like you were listening to a porno. It was aggressively good.
Oh, good.
Like, holy shit.
It must be if you guys were going back and listening again. And
Yeah. No, really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna revisit chapter 25 after we're done recording.
Yeah, it was really good. So, the reason I chose this segment is because I wanted to share with people, in case you were wondering, based off of the cute little cover, if there's going to actually be anything that's going to really get you going in this book. Yeah, there is. Okay. It's really, really explicit. Buy the audiobook. They are really going for it. It is so good. And this scene was like the descriptions of the positions were so well written. You completely understood everything that was happening.
there's no need for diagrams.
No diagrams needed. You know exactly where everybody's at. Like the feelings, the physical elements were described in such a way that were like super explicit, but also not like embarrassingly so.
Mhm.
They were done just really well. Like Meghan talks a lot about balls tightening in this book. There's a lot of balls, lots of balls happening, more balls than usual.
Well, it is Christmas.
This scene was really, really well done. But that being said, there were plenty of other scenes that were just as hot, if not hotter. So was this maybe the hottest scene in the book? Maybe not. But for a quick segment that we can share here, I thought this was nicely tied up in a little bow.
Yeah.
Meow.
Was it a big red velvet bow?
Yeah. In fact, oh my God, the scene later where they
Would it
talk
have been
about
green?
putting a bow around his dick like it's a present. Oh my God. Oh, it's so good. There's one point in time where they're in between the first time they did the dry hump, right? No.
So dry hump to finally doing the deed, and then they can't get together again.
Right.
Because Taryn is like,
Yeah.
you need to practice rapping. And she's like, I just want his cock in my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So they end up sexting quite a bit. And so we get a little bit of fun banter in there. So at one point, she says, your dick is so huge, I want it in my mouth. And he goes, I'd fuck the smile right off your face. I'd listen to the way you gag as you take me all the way to your throat. Woof. The ending was so good. Oh,
Too short.
yeah. But
Too short.
yeah, true. But
It wrapped up really quick. I needed like just a couple more pages of dialogue to like really bring that home for me. But
I mean, I was still bawling my eyes out in my kitchen.
it got a little teary.
It was,
Full-blown crying.
yeah.
Guys are so sappy.
I know.
I was the first one to read this, and I was like, OMG, why the fuck am I crying
Yeah.
at this book?
Same. Yeah.
For me, it was the scene where she went to Martha and
Yes.
Maze and she's knocking on the door and she was so upset. I felt
Yeah.
her emotion and I was effing crying.
Yes. Yes.
It was intense.
But then I also cried when Cole and Max pull up in their truck
Yeah.
and everybody's standing
Yeah.
outside
Yeah.
and there's Marching Band is there and he's
And they're
like,
all singing.
go get her. Anybody that fights this hard to make up for it is somebody I want to be with. God.
Oh my gosh, look at you. Your eyes are watering.
It was really cute.
It was really cute.
Oh,
It
they
I
was
all
feel like
banded
we need to
together.
release a transcript of what you just said.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, while we're all hot and bothered,
Is it that time?
I think it's that time.
It's that time.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, okay. We clearly know my favorite scene was chapter 25.
Yeah.
Just let's quote that. Candy cane's involved, cum involved, candy cane all over the place. So, my question to you, lovely ladies, is because I think we're going to get a little clinical and scientific here, Lex. Have you used food in the bedroom? And if so, what was the craziest food you've used?
Oh, it's got to be good. It's got to be good.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Yes, food in the bedroom was attempted. And I found out my partner really hates it.
Really?
Yeah, he finds it super unsexy and just the mess and the cleanup and stuff. So that kind of killed it for me. But, you know, of course, before we did that, I looked up and made sure, you know, like, okay, make sure nothing goes inside. Do not insert food into your vagina or anus. I'm just saying, it's not healthy. It never turns out well for you. Don't do that. But just in general, no, like it has been outlawed in my house.
Really?
Yeah, sadly.
I can get on board with the occasional strip of whipped cream up a dick situation, you know, like you've got yourself a banana sundae. But I can't go much further than that because I'm too neurotically obsessed with not having mess everywhere.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a bit much for
I
me.
will say there are different flavored liqueurs and alcohols that can be very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a body shot is fun sometimes.
Well, you get the hot cold thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, alcohol in the mouth,
Yeah.
go to give a blowjob, it's very hot.
Yeah.
Swallow, then come out, blow.
Yeah.
Extremes are good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strangely enough, torture and good sex are similar.
That is.
Well, you know
Love
what I
the
mean?
correlation.
Like
with it.
hot and cold, soft and hard. You know, it's always going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
So I do think, though, that given the right circumstances, I'd be more willing to explore further.
Mm. So let me make a recommendation where you don't bring it into the bedroom. You just do it in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the only.
Easy to clean up.
Yeah.
Tile on the floor. Water source right there. I mean, and
Yeah.
it gives you a variety of different things to do. I will tell you, maybe some leftover birthday cake on a counter got brought into this situation, and it was an awful lot of fun.
That does actually
Yeah.
sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if I had a couple drinks in me, like say maybe 4 or 5, 6, I'd be willing to go down that path pretty easily.
That's definitely been my downfall in life for many, many years.
Let's wrap this up.
Ba-da-ching.
But
Put a bow on
it. Put a bow on it. Yeah. All right. So there's just so many things we can talk about. And let's start with the story. Lex.
Well, since we're going out of order of normally doing, it's fine.
You know I love to just drive
just
you crazy.
Love to fuck me up. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm giving the story a 4.
Okay.
Because as you pointed out earlier in the podcast, it's really hard to write a holiday story that is original. There's so much kitsch out there. And it's funny because I'm not a huge Hallmark movie person, but I've caught one here or there. And there's a formula. They're all the same, but there's a reason why it works. It's what people want. They want comfort. Whereas that makes my eyes roll back in my head. And even though I was like, hey, we should do a holiday book, I was dreading it. I was the last one to read it because I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off.
Is that why?
Yes. I was procrastinating so bad. And I ended up reading it physically because I can read faster than I can listen. Because I don't like to listen to things at 2.5 or whatever.
Sure.
And I really loved the story. I thought she did such an excellent job of just having a fun, funny, it is absolutely meta and self-aware and fantastic. It's written for people who don't like holiday books and movies because it's so well crafted and the humor hit every time. She gets a 4.
See, here's the interesting thing. For all those reasons, exactly as you put them, I'm going to give it a 5.
Woohoo!
So that's how funny it is with ratings.
You
couldn't have said it more perfectly in exactly the way that I feel, except I'm slapping a 5 on it.
Well, all my ratings are going to be at least 0.5 lower than it would have been if Atlas and Cole had ended up together.
You're going to write some fanfic for this now, are you?
Yes.
Go find me on AO3.
Oh, my God.
Where it becomes an MMF novel.
Fabulous. Absolutely.
Okay. Noted. Joey, what do you think?
I'm going in at a 4.5. I
Okay.
think Meghan did a really great job at not taking it too serious, but it's still being serious. There were so many layers to this story, all the way from the family dynamics for each of them, the trauma that had happened, the relationship that had occurred, the lingering love that happened at such a young age that translated to 10 years later. So there's a lot of depth to this. I thought the story was just fun and funny and serious and quirky and romantic. There were just so many layers to a 4.5 out of me.
All right. What about the smut, Lex? I'm dying to know.
What about the smut? Oh, you're going to be so unhappy with me.
I'm not.
I'm giving it 3.5. Yeah. And that's because, was the smut hot? Yeah, it was pretty good. It's in there. Yeah, you had to get maybe 60% through the book to get to it. I loved the slow burn. I think probably my stopper on this book is I'm just not loving story that much.
Okay.
And so that kind of pulls it back a little bit for me, but Cole is so hot. And the sex is hot. We got a little bit of dirty in there, which was lovely. But for whatever it is, the panties only got a little bit moist. I didn't need to change out. So really, if you don't need to change them out, they don't get a super, super high rating. So 3.5.
Fair enough. Why didn't you like story?
I thought she was obnoxious.
Oh, really?
Again, you had to get all the way up to the snowstorm before I even liked her a little bit.
Huh. Interesting.
I just thought she was an obnoxious younger sister who the world revolved around her and her feelings. And I think part of the reason why she didn't connect with her sister, because that's a whole component that we didn't really talk about, is because she just didn't take the fucking time. So, okay, Cole's got this crush on this girl. Why? But we can save that for the romance part. You asked me about smut.
Okay.
So.
All right. All right. So we got a 3.5.
I have to agree at a 3.5.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go higher.
No. So, there was a lot of tension, and I think the tension needed to be in the book. It's the miscommunication trope. There's always, like, that kind of in a way drives me nuts. But it happens so much all the time in real life, too, right? That miscommunication, the perception that people have in there. So when it got heated, I felt, because maybe they were trying to hide it and doing everything undercover. They weren't able to, like, super explore it. I mean, there was a good amount of sex in there. What I liked a little bit more, a little dirtier, maybe in, under the mistletoe in the middle of town hall at 2:00 in the morning, maybe. That would have been a little bit of fun. At least a blowjob in there. But yeah, I mean, scene 25 was my favorite. The rest was good.
So
what about you?
Here's the fascinating thing about this book. Because I am the kind of person that when I read things, I am very much intertwining, especially for the smut factor. The relationships are a huge element going into it, as well as the writing. If neither of those are good, then I'm not going to rate it really high. I'm giving this a 5.
What?
Have you ever done for this?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
Wait.
she's gone 5 for smut a bunch of times.
Oh.
And it's funny because all varying books, now that I'm thinking back
Sure.
to where you've given a 5, it's kind of varying. So it's not like you have a type.
The type is it has to be well written.
Yeah.
It has to be well timed in the story. And it has to be with characters who are emotionally invested in a certain way to get it really going. Like, even though there might be a really fun, super kinky sex scene between these two people, if I don't like the character, so fair enough, if you don't like story, you're not going to be as invested.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the way they're treating each other or something, you're not going to be as invested. It's a confluence of perfection that has to happen to hit a 5. And this did that for me. I don't know how, but it did. I mean, I know how.
Yeah.
But anyways.
That's awesome.
All right. So tell me about the romance. I'm going to go in order every time, and you're going to go first every time.
Okay, that is fine. So, as previously stated, I wasn't super into story. However, story, the character, not the telling of this tale.
Yes.
But I had to lock in that, okay, I'm not Cole. It's whatever he wants. I thought the romance was adorable.
Yeah.
So I'm actually rating the romance kind of high at a 4. Because it is the cutesy Christmas romance. It had the good slow burn. It had a love my grumpy sunshine. So we ticked that box. Enemies to lovers, got it. Longtime crush. I do love a longtime crush. That makes it way. Yeah.
Okay.
My very favorite Jane Austen is the one where it's the same thing 10 years later.
Chewy moral center on Cole.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Cole, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, the romance is all there. And it really kind of carries it for me. It made the sex hotter because they need to be invested for the sex to be hot for me. So.
All right.
I'm going in at a 4. I thought it was cute. I thought they were meant for each other. I know a lot of people really do enjoy in their romance novels that enemies to lovers component. I'm not sure that's necessarily my favorite out of all of them. And this was definitely it. So there were times where they were really going at it in the sense of some of the things they were doing to get to each other so that they couldn't win the competition. that necessarily kind of brought it down a little bit for me. But at the end of the day, this was really cute. They were cute for each other. I get the miscommunication component. You can get past that, but maybe enemies to lovers is not my jam.
So wait, which part of the miscommunication was what bothered you?
About how she had said something 10 years ago and he had let it fester. And instead of when they came back and saw each other at the sub place that they had a conversation earlier, they let it fester. They became enemies. And that's the miscommunication piece that then went chapter after chapter after chapter where they had that misunderstanding with each other.
Okay.
What about you? Are you
Guys,
going to 5?
I fucking fell for this book so hard.
Oh my God.
It's so cute. It is
I-
so
This is
cute.
great.
I
This is great.
never in my fucking wildest dreams would I have told you that I would have loved this book so much. Yeah, I gave it a fucking 5.
Oh my God, that is so great.
I loved them so much. I loved the banter. I loved the support from the other characters that went into it. I loved the ending. Taryn coming in hard at the end. We're not going to spoil the ending.
No.
Go read the fucking book if I haven't told you enough times already. The ending was super sweet. Yeah. Overall, what's your rating, Lex?
Overall, I'm going with a good 4,
Okay.
especially since holiday book and then she knocked it out of the park. Like you, I didn't think I was going to like it. I resisted it so bad. And go read it. It's cute. 4.
All right. That's a high rating for
Yeah.
you. All right.
I'm going a 4.5.
Yeah.
I loved this fucking book. It was fun. It was an adventure. I laughed. I cried. I fell in love with these characters. Give me Max in real life. I'll take him.
Oh, yes.
I'll take him.
Uh-huh.
Not a problem. It was kitschy. It was funny. There were just so many layers to it. I really enjoyed it. I've already gone back and bought 5 other Meghan Quinn books because I forgot how amazing she was. It's been a while since I've read her, and I just kind of want to get back to that. So amazing job, amazing book. For a holiday book that I don't read, this was a lot of fun. 4.5.
I mean, obviously, the average of 4 5s is a 5. So, in case anybody was wondering, I'm giving this book a 5.
Oh my God.
It was
I know.
adorable watching the texting between the two of you. Saying like, oh my God, are you here yet? Oh my God, this is so cute. I was just like, oh, okay.
I know. Now that I know how you were going into this, I'm like, I wish I'd amped it up even more. It made you
know.
so
I
annoyed.
know.
I mean, honestly, I truly shocked. Truly shocked. The other thing is that it's that time of the year. It's
Mhm.
cold out. It's the perfect
Yeah.
time to read this book. I think
Yes.
if we had read it like too early on before we launched the episode, it wouldn't have hit quite as
The same
perfectly
way.
for me.
Yeah.
So I read it at the perfect time. It felt so warm and cozy. It really felt like it kicked off the season nicely. Like listening with my earbuds in, walking my dog in the morning, people already have their Christmas lights out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it felt perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
we had just gotten that
Oh.
snap to the ear. and,
yes,
you know,
yes,
have an eggnog in my coffee while I drink.
And
exactly.
I talk about this component all the time. You have to be in the mood for this.
Yes.
Yes.
And this was definitely the perfect time of year for it. It was just a funny, fun-loving, dirty book that was very well written. It hit the nail on the head for you at this right time.
Yeah, it sure did.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I know. Many thanks for your time, your innocence, your brain. If you never came back, 'twould be a shame. 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 Help us out, the dame said, and you'd thought you'd done enough, but turns out pushing play wasn't quite up to snuff. Rate, and subscribe, the dames cried through the night, and they'd hoped that those scores would all aid in their plight. They did, oh they did, but just one small thing more. Please tell all your friends, all your favorite book whores. They love their dear listeners, the dames really can't lie. Until the next episode, they'll all just say, bye.